Imagine walking into a high-stakes event, feeling all eyes on you, only to realize your shirt is literally falling apart and your hair looks like a bird's nest. That instant, heart-stopping realization is the ultimate social nightmare. You're certain every eye is a laser beam burning into your embarrassment. But here is the cold, liberating truth. Almost nobody noticed. Welcome to the spotlight effect, the psychological thriller where you are the only one watching the movie. You are convinced you are a specimen under a microscope, but the beady-eyed scientists you imagine are simply not there. This is the heart of a pervasive cognitive bias where you systematically overestimate how much your actions, appearance, and mistakes are actually noticed by the world around you. You've lived in this invisible prison for years, haven't you? You've stayed silent in meetings because you were afraid of sounding stupid. You've skipped parties because you thought your skin wasn't perfect. You've replayed a single awkward sentence in your head for 3 days, certain that everyone you spoke to is still thinking about it. But the main character's story you've been writing for yourself is actually a work of fiction. In reality, you are an extra in everyone else's movie. And they are far too busy worrying about their own stains and stumbles to even glance at yours. To prove how deep this illusion goes, let's look at a landmark study that felt more like a social prank. In 2000, psychologists Thomas Gilovich and his team subjected college students to a social experiment by making them wear a t-shirt featuring a giant picture of the musician Barry Manilow, someone the researchers explicitly established as not terribly popular among college students. These students walked into a room full of peers, convinced they were walking into a firing squad of ridicule. When asked to guess how many people noticed their embarrassing attire, they predicted that roughly 50% of the room would identify the face on their chest. But here is the reality check. In truth, only about 23 to 25% of the people in the room actually noticed the shirt. You are essentially doubling your own social visibility in your head, projecting your internal panic onto a world that is mostly looking the other way. But prepare for a darker twist. You might assume that if people don't notice the bad things, they must at least be noticing when you look your best. We think that when we nail a presentation or wear a cool outfit, the world finally sees us. Yet, research shows the opposite is true. In a follow-up experiment, participants wore shirts featuring admired icons like Martin Luther King Jr. or Bob Marley. While the participants predicted a 48% notice rate for these flattering images, the actual identification rate by observers dropped to a staggering 8%. It's a humbling realization that your successes are often just as invisible as your failures. This happens because of a mechanism called anchoring and adjustment. You are anchored to your own rich internal experience, and you struggle to adjust far enough away from it to see the world through someone else's eyes. The mystery goes even deeper than your clothes. It invades your very emotions through the illusion of transparency. You felt it. That moment your heart hammers against your ribs during a speech, and you're sure everyone can see your hands shaking or read the panic in your eyes. But your internal world is a private broadcast. In study after study, people who were asked to lie or hide their disgust overestimated how much their internal state leaked out to others. Liars predicted that 44% of their peers would catch them, but only 25% actually did. To you, your anxiety is a loud, blaring siren. To everyone else, it's just background static. If you're wondering if there's a way to break this spell, there is. A final, powerful secret found in the 15-minute rule. In another variation of the study, one group of participants was allowed to sit alone for 15 minutes after putting on their embarrassing shirt before they had to face the crowd. Because they had time to get used to the shirt, because it was no longer a loud or new thought in their own minds, their predictions of being noticed became significantly more accurate. The spotlight only shines on you because you are the one holding the flashlight. The moment you stop focusing on your flaw, the world stops seeing it too. This realization is the key to your freedom. Breaking the cinematic trap requires you to intentionally shift your focus outward. Next time you feel that heat rising in your chest, look around. Notice the people in the room. Realize that they are currently caught in their own spotlight effect, cringing over their own awkward comments and wondering if people are judging their hair. They are not your critics. They are your fellow prisoners in this egocentric bias. You are not a specimen under a microscope. You are a person in a sea of others who are equally terrified of being watched. The social spotlight is a trick of the mind that limits your potential and steals your joy. The most liberating thought you can ever have is that nobody is watching. So go ahead, take that risk, speak your mind, and wear the weird shirt. The world is too busy looking in the mirror to see you anyway. You finally have permission to step off the stage and just live. If you want to understand your own mind better and learn how to bring calm into your daily life, make sure to subscribe to this channel.